Growing up, I have seen how much my parents have worked. They would get up at 4 in the morning to go sell at local flea markets. Having been undocumented meant that they must look for accessible jobs that don't require much documentation. So naturally, they always looked towards flea markets to resell items they would buy and hopefully make a profit. I have seen my parents work over and over again to raise my siblings and I. I am so grateful for their care and attention to be able to get our family by. Though my family and I are in a much better state financially than we were when we were children, I still see how the working long hours has stayed as a routine to my parents. Unfortunately, we live in a society where we are taught that overworking ourselves is a normal thing to do. I remember when I was a teenager, I worked at a local fast food place. There were times when I would call out of work because I was sick, and my father would urge me that calling out didn't look good, and that I could get fired, and that I should appreciate having a job and not call out. I understand where he was coming from. Having had no access to a job, he couldn't go out and get one due to the lack of documentation needed to have a job here in the States. My father's statement was the first introduction that I had that I must dedicate myself to always working, and despite if I was ill, it would not matter and I needed to show up to work. I have had a handful of different jobs and have worked tremendously hard to be able to make it into what I thought I wanted to do. I knew I wanted a 9 to 5 to climb up the corporate ladder in my field of study and live as so because I was always told that was the way. Considering my parents' struggle to migrate to the States, I did not want to let them down. I worked overtime just like my parents did, always shooting for something I was so conditioned to want. But there came a point where I reached my limit, and I was very unhappy. I realized I did not want to spend my whole life working only to maximize the pockets of companies that did not care for my well-being. I am continuously working towards unlearning that I must break my back in order to live a fulfilled life, or in order to get by. I am learning to take more breaks, to rest, to take a nap when I'm tired, to understand that I can live a different life than the 9 to 5 that I was told was the only way. I am privileged in many ways that my parents were not. I think that having a 9 to 5 job or working for a company is great, and I myself learned a lot through the jobs I've had. But personally, that was something that was not for me, and that did not align with how I wished to live my life. I thought I did, but it was only because that is what I was told that I should want. friends. Grunting noises are Dobie. He's like right next to me. I've been thinking a lot lately about what it means for me to work and how can I approach work, because obviously he's playing with this little ball. Go! Obviously in this society we need money in order to survive. At least that's how I see it right now. I mean, it's clear, right? We have to pay for a home, we have to pay for food. And so I've really been working towards redefining what work means for me. All I know right now is that how I was doing things, overworking myself and working the jobs that I used to have, like my 9-to-5s in my field of study, what I went to college for, it just was not working out. I was severely depressed and unhappy. And I really thought that was the only way that I could live, because that was what I grew up with society telling me. That is what I grew up with my parents telling me. And that's what I see my parents do. And so I have been focusing the last maybe 2 years to really redefine what work means for me. And on my pathway to, walking the path of healing and really unlearning things that society taught me that honestly do not serve me, I came to loving writing and art as a form of expression and healing. And so that has been a great avenue for me to be able to sustain myself monetarily. And it's been wonderful. But of course, it's sometimes not enough, especially to keep up with bills and stuff like that. So I'm still working towards what it means for me to work. I know that right now I just did not want to be committed to having to work for a corporate for a corporate job. It just wasn't something that I wanted for myself. So I've really been dedicating to discovering ways that I can sustain myself, so I can live the life that I envision for myself, for my husband, for my family, and also to show my parents that there is a different way to live, because it makes me severely sad that even though my family and I, my parents, we're okay compared to how we were before, where they still hold that trait, that mentality that they have to always be working. I have discussions with my dad in particular all the time about him taking less days off from his job, that life is not about having to go clock in and then clock out and having to do that so repetitively all the time. And I know I'm speaking from a place of privilege where I have been able, as of recently, for the last couple of maybe 2 years or so, been able to truly sustain myself from the work that I'm doing online, or at least trying to, because not every day is the same. I've been trying to educate my family that it's not all about work, and we're even looking for ways that we can sustain ourselves outside of having to do a 9-to-5. But that's a work in progress. But yeah, I guess I'm just trying to redefine and understand that I don't have to be committed to a 9-to-5, that there are ways that I can live differently. Or even if I do choose to work, or whoever might be listening, if you do work a 9-to-5, how are there ways that we can maybe prioritize ourselves to where we don't have to fully embed ourselves in a 9-to-5? Is it maybe only if it's accessible to you? Is it maybe working shorter days? Is it maybe working only 4 days? Whatever that might look like for you, knowing that, just, I guess the message is just knowing that life is not all about clocking in to our 9 to 5s or whatever job. And me, who has, as a first generation daughter to once undocumented parents, I'm trying to see what that looks like for me. I'm trying to break this generational cycle because it is not something that I want to carry forward. I want to teach my children one day that life isn't about a 9 to 5. And I'm still trying to figure out how that looks like for me. I'm not a person that comes from financial support. I'm not someone who has it all figured out. I'm just someone that knows that what I've been experiencing or have been doing in my life has not been working out. And I'm seeking to break that cycle for the sake of showing my parents that there's a different way, for the sake of my children one day, for the sake of our future generations in general. These are just rambles. I've been really liking doing more natural style videos, so I hope that you enjoy this. Kind of like a little journal entry. That's how I'm treating these videos, and just kind of telling you all my thoughts of what's been going on up here. And that's currently what's present right now. And I think this is comes at a great time, especially as we start the new year. Really focusing on what we can redefine that hasn't worked out for us previous years. I think it's a great time to do it in the beginning of the year or any time. But since we're in the beginning of the year, it's time to let go of things that haven't served us before. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here and for tuning in to these little rambles. So I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.